when everybody's getting it wrong, then it makes it a little bit difficult to know what you're doing.
Now, in the old system, you could compare students. Now, in this system, you could have 100% of students pass or no students pass, and that just really doesn't work properly.
At this school, we offer 2 reset opportunities. At other schools, it may be 3 or 4.
Well, there's 2 concerns here. One, the statistics from one school to the other can be quite different. And secondly, when students actually present themselves for a job or success, one student's achievement is actually slightly different in terms of the opportunities they had than another.
Some schools can do their own unit standard assessments. They then allow the students to sit 1, 2, 3, maybe more times.
The assessments are unfair and inequitable.
There is one achievement standard which in the first year it was done, 87% of New Zealand kids failed. That continued last year, and the teachers teaching it still really don't have a clue of what is wanted from that achievement standard.
It's really upsetting for me in my subject to see a student who hands in a 20-page document, and in that document the standard was excellence all the way through. In the last line, the student got the dependent and independent variables around the wrong way. The moderator changed that mark from an excellence to an achieved, even though he admitted that the rest of it was all excellence. That's not fair.
NCEA is actually harder than School C, much harder for boys, much harder because the achievement standards are written in such a way that it's teacher interpretation as to what that means. Then the pupil has to interpret what the teacher said, and then we end up with moderators and markers putting their interpretation on it.
30 experienced teachers in a classroom, all marking the same piece of work. Now, across those 30 teachers, for the same piece of work, we had a range of marks from N, A, M and E.
It exists at the moment. We can write anything we want and put a hell of a lot of time and effort into it. The only problem is it's ignored.
I find that students that have a higher ability rate, in the sense that they are high achieving students, aren't being pushed as a result of the same number of credits being offered regardless of whether you get an excellence, a merit or an achieved.
Often you get students, and most particularly the boys, who will say to you, this is all I need for an achieved. And you say, yes, but you can get a merit or an excellence. And they say, why do I need to work harder? For an achieved, a person who gets roughly 60% of the material correct is lumped in with a person who gets roughly 30% of the material correct.
It's not pushing the high ability students, it's actually just sort of catering for the low ability and the average student.
Students need to know what they're successful at, yes. The students also need to know what they are not good at. What they're going to do is they're going to get an overinflated impression of their ability, and then they're going to fall down at some stage in the future.
And the students need to know where they stand, basically. I spoke to a level 2 marker about how they went about assessing work which was handed in on videotape, DVD, CD, PowerPoint presentation, audio, and asked how that was marked in the time they had available to mark it. The marker told me that he had none of this equipment supplied, he didn't have it at home, he didn't have the computer programs, so when it came in he just gave it achieved. You could hand in a blank tape, get achieved. Could hand in excellent work, get achieved. What a joke.
It's very important that you teach a whole subject as opposed to teaching to the achievement standards.
Gone are the days we used to teach a curriculum and you had to know a whole lot of things about the subject and specifics were asked in the exam. It's now changed that the achievement standards set what is taught, and if something isn't covered by those achievement standards, it's just totally left out of the curriculum.
It becomes credit purchasing as opposed to subject learning.
It's pandering to support mediocrity, in that if you don't do any work in an achievement standard, hand in nothing, it doesn't get recorded on your record of learning.
NCEA is focusing on participation rather than success.
Because it's had so much money spent on it, it isn't going to initially change. It'll take 5 to 10 years and it will come out, why didn't you teachers tell us these problems existed?
I think at some stage in the future this is all going to go belly up and we're going to go back to a percentage-based system.